Guys were all like jotting down the names, and you were like on the edge of your seats even though you were standing. And when I was done, you guys all scurried off and you went out and you found all these places and stuff. I just thought, that's great. They're into it. They're into it. They, they want to, look at something interesting and people you've heard of. And even though it's just their grades, I just felt wonderful. That moment will always stand out to me.
So, after an 8-hour or so driving the road, we finally made it to Peabody, Massachusetts.
From the presentations, when they're out there on the other side of the bridge, they look to where we just went through downtown, and they think that the British have started the town on fire. And indeed, there were some fires, and that got the Americans angry.
And ladies and gentlemen, with that, our last story, I bid you all thank you for accompanying me on the Salem Night Tour. And there was, in fact, much rejoicing. Yay. Thank you guys very, very much.
Just the cannonballs. They can't hit anything. That was a 1 in a million shot. 1 in a million. They can't hit anything. But the men in the fort were still panicking. But Asa Pollard, he's dead. What should we do? He's dead.
Sarcophagi. This is an actual mummy from Egypt. It is really a real mummy. This mummy was present on the time period when they actually did the ether. And by the way, that statue, the patient declared that he had felt no pain during the operation. He was discharged well on December 7th.
That was filled in over the centuries. So this was a little tiny peninsula here. You could walk from one end of the city of Boston to the other just like we did today, and right now we'd be basically at the other end.
So, this street right here is called Acorn Street. It's the most picturesque street in Boston, hands down. Naga store here. This is the Naga store. And right next to the Naga store, interestingly enough, we have a bra shop. That's really good. That's really weird. That's really strange. Here's where I end this climb store on the outside of the jail. If you want to go in there, but I can't get you out. It's actually a little bit fun.
James in 1875, William James taught one of the university's first courses in psychology. The property was later the home to Julia Childs and her taped cooking shows, which were actually filmed in here.
Okay, we're going to talk about the most famous man in America in the first half of the 20th century.
We're going to talk about slavery at Monticello. Of a vibrant, enslaved community living in
Street with the green shutters, that's the Peterson home. So they carry him straight out of Ford's Theater, literally straight across the street to the Peterson home, which is a boarding home. And that's where he'll eventually pass away.
Tad was not there, but his son Robert was there. Robert Lincoln will also be there when President Garfield was assassinated 16 years later. Robert Lincoln will also be there when President McKinley is assassinated 20 years after that in Buffalo, New York. You do not want to be president and have Robert Lincoln anywhere near you. Now, some people have asked me, who have mentioned his name before. His name is Dan Sickle. Had we gone downtown today, we would have gone near the White House. Near the White House, there is a park across the street from the White House on the other opposite side of Constitution Avenue, right off of Pennsylvania Avenue. It's called Lafayette.
You know, keep in mind that piecing together history is sometimes taking wrong turns. Terry about doing history and psychology in Europe.
Like, why did you choose Havel and not Fennel or one of the other history professors?
Because I knew Terry, and I'd seen Terry in action, and he seemed to have a way with students that just seemed to me to be very similar to, I think, something that I liked. And Fennel, I just didn't know him as well, and I guess my assumption was that
He is the best history teacher.
that I thought Terry would be willing to do it. At the time I was single, and I said, let's do Europe. And we had these plans, and then we realized neither one of us had been to Europe. And after we laid it all out, Terry gave me the realization that he doesn't fly. So that kind of makes a trip to Europe a little bit out. And then Terry said, well, isn't there anything here in the United States? And I said, well, you know, William James started in Boston, and, you know, we could talk about Harvard. He said, well, why don't we do that? I said, well, you know, we could look at presidents and murderers. And he's like, well, let's do that. I said, how about biographies? And we just studied people, and then it just snowballed.
But any instructor there that doesn't know what we know about taking students on trips.
They don't
If
know
they
what they're
knew
missing.
and they were dedicated instructors, they would jump at the chance
They
to
do
do
this in
something
a
like
second.
that.
They do it in a second.
And actually, it's one of our goals is to try to get more professors to want to develop and offer trips.
Yeah.